Hi, everybody. Welcome to Conversations with Calvin, We the Species. For me, a special, they're all special, but this is special for a lot of reasons because my guest, Quinn Vasbinder, is a former basketball player. So was I. He's an actor, now moving into film and theater and stuff. I snuck into a movie. I told you about that last time we were together, Glenn. Meryl Streep. I also auditioned for a play called
Mhm.
Frankenstein. I don't know if I told you about that, but
You did.
so there's a lot of bonding, a lot of journey. So that's why this is special. I love my whole life has been completely metamorphosized because I watched Casablanca.
There you
We, my life has completely changed so unbelievably because of that. So that's why this becomes a very special interview, and not cheating here, but just looking at some of my notes. I'm a big underliner. What we're going to be talking about besides acting and journey.
go.
Uh, um, uh, is courage over comfort, and we're going to talk about that because that's part of your motto, and I kind of like that. Patience, kindness, bravery. These are words that I picked up and I underline. That talks about you, Quinn. And patience, responsibility, courage. These things come up. Uh, um, so it means a lot to me, and your journey means a lot to me. So this becomes a really special and I'm a groupie because I love the whole umbrella of acting because
Good.
it's just a wonderful medium. So I'm really thrilled about this, and I paid, I'm paying a bit of a price to interview now, and no guilt intended, but I'm missing the Knicks game. But we just looked at the score. It's pointless to watch because it's 62-22. The Knicks are up, and
Tough one.
the Knicks are up a lot. I can't conceive of how a professional team could be losing by 40 points in the first half. I don't figure that. Maybe we can talk about that. So, my monologue has concluded. If you want to say a few opening remarks, a little
Mhm.
background, and then we will jump into your story and journey.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, thank you for having me here, first of all. I appreciate being here, being initially an athlete and moving into art has been definitely a big transition for me, but it's been definitely something that I've been looking forward to speaking about. So I appreciate you having me here, my friend.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Um, so we're going to start out, Quinn, where your story kind of pivots. When basketball kind of ended,
Mhm.
not basketball, when your basketball ended because of COVID, and that's
Yes.
when your journey stopped. When that happened, it was pretty sudden, obviously. How did you feel emotionally when that part of your chapter, that part of your life chapter had ended?
No, good question. To be honest with you, it was kind of a mixed bag. My father, he was a big basketball player through the army and through college as well. So he was really the point that I was going through basketball. My coach through all my teams. He was, the guy who really influenced me to do so and inspired me to do so. Loved playing basketball with him, but the amount of work that it took to be able to become someone who is competitive on collegiate and even NBA levels is something that I personally couldn't find myself really aspiring to. So when I was attempting to try and be a basketball player in the collegiate level, COVID occurred and gyms closed, right? There was no opportunity to go inside and train with college athletes or even coaches or even shoot hoops indoors. I didn't know anybody like that. Nobody had keys. And so it was just me in the middle of Eugene, Oregon, trying to shoot hoops outside in the pouring rain that only goes so far. So that definitely put a very large stop in that pursuit. But it was a pursuit that, due to the fact that I didn't necessarily want to take it too far, was necessary to close, I guess, My dad, he was very on point with how he described it. Like to be good, to be able to compete with these high levels, you got to do the things necessary to the point where it's not fun. You're shooting hundreds of free throws a day because you know you're going to make it because you better make it in game. I personally didn't necessarily want to take it far enough to where this game one became unentertaining for me. And by proxy, COVID occurred and it kind of just stopped me there in the tracks anyway. So I guess I had to be forced to pivot to something else in the first place. So I guess it was kind of necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. You talk about your dad, and I took a basketball to get close to my dad. I think I showed you a picture of my dad's team when we were.
Yes.
Yeah, I did. So it's so funny. My life, in all my basketball days, my father never saw me play
Mhm.
basketball, and I played the game to get close to my dad, and he never saw me play. He had chances. It is what it is. Anyway, you made me think of that when you were talking about your dad. So I said this earlier in my monologue. You described yourself as someone choosing courage over comfort, and I like that. Really, I do like that. Was there a moment, a recent moment when that becomes very real to you, and it wasn't really a concept? I mean, was there a real moment when you had to make that kind of a choice?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few moments I mean, in terms of acting, going on stage for the first time a couple of years ago, pivoting from basketball to something else so drastically different as the arts, it was scary, very scary to audition for my first play and then to get the play and then to hold up those expectations of being able to perform the play, never having any experience prior. So that was an extraordinarily terrifying experience for me. But also recently, I mean, anytime I get on stage, I had a stage reading just a couple weeks ago. I feel as though like being picked for the part for anything, there's a certain set of expectations that you're going to be able to perform it to a certain extent. And as a person, I mean, you're your own worst critic or your own, biggest critic, so you want to be able to hold yourself accountable. So I always have these questioning thoughts like, am I really the right guy for this? Am I really going to be able to perform this? Like, what if I mess up or what if that? So more recently, it would be the stage reading, be able to get up there and actually try and perform something new, something I haven't been able to perform before. Um, and it's terrifying every single time, to be honest with you. It's freaky as hell. But excuse my French, but
No, that's
it's,
all right.
I appreciate it. It's necessary, It's definitely necessary to grow as a human being. So I pursue it.
Okay. Uh, Point of information. If you see, um, looks like I'm writing. I am.
Okay. Taking notes.
I'm taking notes, just so you know.
Making me nervous, man.
I take notes, so don't be nervous.
Yeah.
Don't be nervous. Um, um, it's funny. My next newsletter. I told you
Mhm.
about my newsletters. My next newsletter next week talks about. Uh, it was a whimsical thing. I may have mentioned that to you when we were kind of chatting last week.
Mhm.
It was a whimsical thing. I changed careers one day, February 3rd, 1981. I, I I woke up and decided I didn't want to be a pharmacist anymore, and there was a commercial for the Edison Valley Playhouse at that exact second in time, and I thought this was divine intervention that that I'm quitting my profession as a pharmacist, and there's a commercial for a play called Frankenstein. It was Frankenstein, and I said, "My God, I'm 6'5". I'd be a perfect, Boris Karloff Frankenstein." So I actually, I went to or I auditioned, for that play, and it took a lot of guts, and I was always able to look. It took a lot of guts because I had never even seen a script before. So when I'm on stage and they give me the thing to read, I'm reading the stuff in parentheses. I didn't know it was directions. But I referred back to that many times in my life when I had to make a decision,
Mhm.
courage. And I needed courage. And I would say to myself, remember, you auditioned for a play you knew nothing about.
Mhm.
But anyway, speaking of auditions, take us to that first. audition at the very little theater in Eugene?
Yeah, no, it was actually really very similar to what you're experiencing. I had never written or read a script. I had no idea what the play was about and what it was about. I myself was literally reading the words in parentheses
Were
too.
you?
Yeah. So no, that I was actually, yeah, that's on point for sure.
Oh,
Um, but I walked in right after my mother. I always wanted to be an actor. My mom previously had worked in the very little theater when she first moved to Eugene and stated, "Hey, if you want to act, go audition." And this play called Prelude to a Kiss was happening. Um, I enter, write my name down on the call sheet. The director walks up to me. He's like, "Hey, yeah, I'm glad you came in here. Yeah, what do you think of the script?" I was like, "I have no idea. I'd never seen it." And he had this kind of like confused look, and like, "Really? You have no idea what you're doing?" Like, I was like, "Yeah, first time." And it was kind of like, "Okay, why is this kid here for a second?" But reading the pieces, sitting like going on stage, I had no way to project my voice. I was like talking to the person in front of me as if the person was just, a conversation. So nobody could even hear me in the bleachers out front or even in the far stages. So, they were giving me the keys to try and incorporate my voice more. And it was making me a little more nervous, like, oh, am I messing this up? Like, I got to do better. And that critical, mindset that we're mentioning, it starts to really start getting key, starts to get present in the moment. So I get a little more nervous, but being able to take those notes and be able to blank out as just to be able to perform is what I really try to emphasize, and being able to just say the thing, do the thing, and have fun with it was really what was prioritized. My director giving me great notes and helped me out with that really helped the process. It was a scary experience. It was very fun, but it was definitely worth it always.
what did you learn about yourself, Quinn, the first time you were on stage in front? I can't even imagine, in front of a live audience. What did you learn about yourself?
That I'm not nearly as confident as I'd like to think that I am. It was extraordinarily humbling, man, to be honest with you. Um, I've always thought myself to be able to project, be able to perform in front of crowds and hold the attention of individuals, but in a field that was completely new to me, it was super humbling, Calvin. Oh my God, it was ridiculous. So being able to find my confidence in a new field was something I need to learn.
Wow. I can, in a small way, appreciate the bravery and the intestinal fortitude of what it takes to
Mhm.
get up. Years ago, when I was a regional manager for Luxottica Group,
Mhm.
part of my job, we would have, we'd have our national sales meeting and Christmas meeting every December, and I had to get up and announce, give a speech a little bit, and it's to 500 people, and back in those days I was hugely shy,
Mhm.
it was like always 2 weeks before Christmas, so by the time June hit, 6 months away, I started panicking,
Mhm.
and for 6 months I panicked that I'm gonna have to get up on stage and give a speech and announce, my sales rep of the year kind of thing.
Mhm.
So I can't even conceive of
Mhm.
what that would be like. The audience, I mean, you got to be made of tough stuff.
I'm trying to be, man. I'm trying to be. It's all
Tough
work in
stuff.
progress.
So you're now transitioning into film and TV and voice stuff. And
Mhm.
uh, anything in particular that excites you about those mediums as it's so different than being on stage?
Yeah, stage and film are drastically different. I mean, when you're talking about stage, you're talking about, you got to get perfect every time, or at least fluent every time, because you mess up a line, people know. When it comes to the film side, it's much, much more subtle. Like it's subtle acting. The camera's right in your face, so you're not projecting to people 20, 30 yards away anymore. You're having more internal experiences that show up, or at least that you're trying to hide as the character. So being able to master a different field in that regard, being able to make it more subtle, being able to find like the fine tuning of the acting is definitely something I've been very excited to learn, very excited to be able to utilize. Um, and being on film sets too is so exciting. The first time I went on the movie set was a TV series that was filming down over here just a year ago, and we walk into this big warehouse. It's just an empty building, but you go in, and then there's this large wooden structure of plywood that you see on the outside. It just looks like a weird little square, right? About, yay big, whoever knows. But you walk in, and it's a fully furnished bar, like fog, like mood lighting, full liquor, whole seating, few people inside. It was actually so exciting for me. It was so incredible. So being able to experience not only the skill, I guess, not necessarily skill, but the fine tuning of the skill, and to be able to feel like you're really in the event and in the location is so incredible for me, to be honest.
Interesting. Funny. Last night, uh, I saw this advertised a couple of weeks ago. There was a play opening up in New Brunswick.
Mm,
It's called "Oh What a Night," and it's the story. Most people, almost everybody doesn't know the story of Marian Anderson. I don't know if you know about her, but she was an African American, unbelievable opera singer and singer in the 30s and
mm,
40s and 50s. Unbelievable. I was a huge fan of hers, and I would watch old reels of her singing, and it would blow me away. And of course, race comes into the thing. And she was performing in Princeton in 1937.
mm,
And there's a big hotel in Princeton, at Princeton University, big hotel called the Nassau Inn. And because she's black,
mm.
they wouldn't let her stay there. So she had no place to stay. And when
Yeah.
Albert Einstein heard about that, he lived in Princeton, and he was at the Institute for Advanced Study, and so he's a professor and he's world famous and stuff. He heard about that, and he reached out to her and he said, "You stay with me."
No
So
way.
began a lifelong friendship between an African American woman and a Jewish guy.
Hey, I love that.
And it was unbelievable. And I wrote an essay. I wrote an essay, and I sent it to some people. I wrote an essay because I heard. So she sang. She was supposed to sing and do a concert in 1939
Mhm.
at Constitution Hall. A lot of people don't know about this. 1939 Constitution Hall, which is run by the Daughters of the American Revolution. And the Daughters of the American Revolution, they wouldn't let her sing in Constitution Hall because she was black. And when Eleanor Roosevelt found out about that, she resigned. She resigned from the Daughters of the American Revolution in protest. So there was protests going on in 1939. And then they decided they're going to let her sing at the Lincoln Memorial.
Oh,
So instead of a few hundred people or 1,000 people showing up, 75,000 people showed up to hear her sing.
that's incredible.
It's incredible. And often when I watch the news and the news isn't great and stuff goes on, and I want to get a kick in the butt, I put Marian Anderson on
Hmm.
singing "My Country 'Tis of Thee" at the
Hmm.
Lincoln Memorial. And to me, and the essay I wrote was that is a definition of America.
I love that.
Hearing her sing "My Country 'Tis of Thee." Anyway, I went into a long
Um,
explanation of that because I just saw it last night, and
mhm.
my wife said, "Calvin, you've been talking about all this stuff. They wrote a play about it. This has been on my head and my mind for years and years and years. How great that was." Anyway, um, let's be honest. Now, moving on. This is you're in a really tough industry. How do you personally deal with the big R? Big R's rejection, a
Man,
tough word.
that's a good question. That's actually something that my acting coach, Christina Haddad, has been helping me out with. Um, it's a lot of rejection. I mean, the whole game is rejection. Luckily, I got myself into the sales field prior to really taking acting seriously, so I have a bit of an experience with that, a lot of no's. So it has helped, but it sucks. Like there's moments in which you're like, this is like the role that I can get. I know I got this piece. I know I have this information. I know I have the character down, but somebody else gets it. Whether it's due to the fact that, maybe you just don't look the part or you remind the director of someone they don't like you never know. Um, so how I've been trying to do like auditions and whatnot. I do my 2 to 3 shots, I do my 2 to 3 takes, I send it out there, I try and forget about it, go to the next one, forget about it, go to the next one. Because at some point you're gonna hear back. It's just a numbers game. My dad was a big math guy, a very, very intellectual individual, and math is, everything comes down to, equations with how he operates. And sales and acting can be the same way. You put enough out there and you put enough calls and auditions, you're going to hear back. You just need to continue to do so. The more you fail, the higher likelihood that the next opportunity is a success. Vice versa, but also, that's just how it works. So it's just putting it out there.
That's interesting what you said about, sales. I was in sales 25 years, and eventually I got really good at it. But for the first 24 years, I had a rough time with it.
Hmm.
The rejection,
Yeah.
because you take it personally. It's not. It's a line from The Godfather when Michael Corleone says to his brother, "It's not personal, Sonny. It's strictly business."
Hmm.
It's strictly business, not personal. Nevertheless, it's hard, but
Yeah.
your sales background, I think, will help you.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, so far it's been working. It's all about the next call. Love the one you're with, trying to make sure that you get what you do the best and go to the next one if you can't.
Okay. Um, when we talked a week or two ago, you told me about you're a Stoic, and
Yeah.
you're a Stoic. You're deeply influenced by Stoicism, and I signed up for the Daily Stoic.
Hey,
I don't read enough of it, but I did, sign up for it. How did you first discover that philosophy? And tell a little bit about that philosophy.
I love that. Okay, so Stoicism, in my experience, is definitely pieces of wisdom given down from, I mean, hundreds of years ago from people who, were in Roman histories when, you know, like actual conglomerates and lifestyles like that were existing. Oh, sorry, hold on a second, get a call. But
Sure.
yeah, there we go. But
Okay.
my take on it, there you go. It's definitely something that I've been practicing a lot when I was starting off in late high school, about 19. About the time when I started meditating and started really discovering spirituality, because there's a lot of mantras and a lot of pieces of wisdom that help with perspective, how you understand the world itself, and really understanding the fact that there's not much in our control. Um, like for instance, like we can vote for politicians and whatnot, but my vote isn't necessarily going to outweigh hundreds of thousands of others. Um, I would like for there to be sun, but I don't decide if it's rain. It's really that our reaction to these events that are out of our control is what matters, and that's what we really can control. So that's been helpful in not only the acting side of rejection, but also as well as sales and relationships, lifestyles. It's really just finding out what you are capable of and maxing out the output mentally to be able to contain and control yourself and maximize your output in society that way. Kind of confusing in the way I said it. I
No,
there's
that's
the
fine.
simplest one.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Listen, we talked about my spirituality, and I do my meditation, and I confront my spirits many times a day, and it's actually getting humorous. I might even that might be a great idea for a book. My conversations with my spirit. Some of the stuff
Hmm.
is really funny. I mean, really funny stuff. Because I said it last night. To the spirit who I'm looking at right now, that's part of me. I'm saying, no, I'm 80 already, and I know that you put a novel in my head. You've changed my whole life around dramatically. You've rescued me from falling down 11 steps. 2 years ago, I should have been killed. I got up and walked away. So all this stuff, I'm 80 and I'm waiting. You know what? I think I'm tired of waiting. Let it happen. Whatever's going to happen. Um,
Yeah.
I'm, it's not that I'm grateful. Gratitude's a wonderful word,
Mhm.
but and all these little spiritual things that come into my life are so powerful. And I laugh. I say, all right, I'm a patient guy and I'm really grateful, but let me have my reward.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Let's do it. But that's a really good idea. My conversations with spirit. Anyway, um, is there a Stoic principle that you use almost daily?
Yeah, actually, one I recently read about 2 or 3 weeks ago, it was the idea that everybody has the opportunity or the choice to have an opinion on something. You can choose to have an idea as to how something can work, right? Because at the end of the day, you're protecting your peace of mind. The individual that is extremely active in a specific field and wants you to be in that specific field and have or share an opinion or have a controversial opinion just to argue. Like at the end of the day, you can decide not to choose to have an opinion on any specific subject just for your sake, right? You're not really on anybody else's time. You're not on anybody else's dollar besides your own. Um, and that has become prevalent to me a lot, actually, because people in my friend groups, they're very opinionated in some remarks that I personally don't find myself too interested, whether it be specific sports or players or lifestyles or choices. And they're wondering, like, why do I not have a say? Like, if I'm not agreeing with you, I'm against you. It's like, no, it's like sometimes that thing just does not seem as interesting to me specifically, you know? And that's totally fine. Everybody can have that specific thing with anybody or any subject. So that's something that I've been trying to practice a lot more for sure.
Okay. Um, do you think young people today, because you're young,
Mhm.
are missing this kind of philosophical grounding?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They're definitely less grounded than they should be for sure. Um, I mean, at least less grounded is how I could see would be more beneficial. Um, yeah, I mean the the amount of access we have to technology, to information, right? It's all just given to us in waves over and over and over again, endlessly. So it's overwhelming at the end of the day, right? People are over dopamine released and they have to try and get it out in any regard they can, I guess. But that comes with side effects, right? That comes with problems, with issues. Um, Not everybody's worth listening to be honest. I myself am just some guy, right? I'm just some dude in a chair, like sitting in a room. Right? Not everybody's gonna relate or be able to understand what I'm saying, or have also an equally valid opposite opinion of what I'm saying, which is okay. But there's not always necessity to have an opinion at all. You don't need to have an emotional reaction to things. You don't need to have an attachment to things because attachment, it can be pretty drowning. It can be anchoring, and that's not necessary. That's sometimes can be very self-deprecating, I guess. Deprivating.
Yeah,
Yeah, forget the
deprecating.
word.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, you know the word. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yes, yes. You said, I just wrote this down. I think it's wonderful. Everybody is worth listening to. That's just a great, that's, and I'm going to write that up when I write that's just a great thing. I'm going to go off topic a little bit. I'm going to plagiarize one of my favorite journalists,
Okay.
Barbara Walters, who was a pioneer. Anyway, this is a question I like to ask. There could be a few answers. There could be no answers. There's no. So
Mhm.
here goes. It's just off topic a little bit. So, Quinn, excluding family or friends, somebody living or dead you'd like to spend a day with. It could be a couple, one, two, whatever.
Living or dead, spend a day with. Oh shoot.
That's a
But they
great
have to be
question.
like real people though, right?
No, it could be anything you want. There's no rules.
Okay, like being honest.
Yeah, sure.
This is gonna sound ridiculous. Uh, I'm a huge Jurassic Park fan. Like that is my favorite movie of all time.
Wow.
Yeah, if I could spend the day with the protagonist of Jurassic Park, like that would be so amazing. Like I grew up wanting to be a paleontologist, like digging up dinosaur bones. So if I were to be able to spend the day with somebody who, in this scenario, dug them up and also saw them in real life, like that'd be so sick.
Can't believe you said that. Can't believe you said that. That's, by the way, that is hauntingly brilliant. Now I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why.
Yeah.
That we're connected.
Oh shoot.
Well, you're here, I'm here. We
Mhm.
got connected. So I'm going to hold up. I'm going to hold up my appointment book. You're wondering what
Nah.
the hell, you're wondering what the hell I'm doing with this.
Yeah.
So right over here, I have this name, John Anton Fossil Dig.
Oh,
Next
excuse me.
Thursday, next Thursday, I'm going on a fossil dig, and you can actually. I've interviewed him twice. He's a paleontologist, and he's a geologist, and he and I have become great friends. And he said, Calvin, I got to take you on a fossil dig. But my next interview with him, guess what we're going to talk about?
What? What?
I'm smiling at you. What we're going to
Dinosaurs?
talk about is he's working now on dinosaur DNA to make Jurassic Park come true.
There's no way. Are you
Oh
serious?
yeah, yeah,
What?
yeah, and yeah, yep. So but he's taking me on a fossil dig next Thursday, which won't happen because I'm taking a screenwriting course, and it got moved into next Thursday. So, but we're
No.
going to go on a fossil dig, and I'm
Okay.
going to interview him,
Okay.
and we could put together a panel someday and talk about this kind of stuff.
That's
But
incredible.
he said, "Yeah, Calvin, I'm one of the things I do now is I work on dinosaur DNA."
That's so
That,
crazy.
is that
What?
great?
This is insanity.
Yeah, and you can see his interviews. You go to Conversation with Calvin
Mhm.
and you thumb around. His name is John Anton, Anton. Great,
Okay.
brilliant, brilliant, brilliant guy. And I interviewed him maybe 8 months ago, and then a couple of years ago, and he's a Rutgers grad.
Mhm.
It's a piece of bonding. So that's so funny you said that, and I'm going to tell him.
Wild.
You
Please, please, please tell him everything. That's so
yeah,
cool.
that's so cool. All right, that's really, really cool.
That's so
Cool stuff.
exciting. Oh my gosh.
Okay, back to work. Oh, by the way, before back to work,
Mhm.
do you have any particular favorite movies? I mean,
My favorite movie of all time is actually Jurassic Park. Yeah,
okay,
literally.
there you go. You said that, and okay,
Yeah, literally. That actually is.
okay. It's funny. I don't know how, but I get up every morning, and before I even get out of bed, and I do some, stretching with my legs and stuff.
Mhm.
For whatever reason, I get these reels. It's Facebook or YouTube reels, and they're all diversified. But I get a prolific amount of dinosaurs, the Brontosaurus,
What?
Brachiosaurus, and they're walking and they're eating. They were big. They were
Huge.
huge, and they would eat leaves off the top of trees and stuff. And and Tyrannosaurus Rex, and there's some monster. But I don't know why I get him. Maybe because the algorithm, and then maybe they sent me one and I liked it and watched it, and they keep sending me.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know, and I watch it literally
Yeah.
every morning about dinosaurs.
That's
It's so
awesome. I
funny,
love that. I
funny
love
stuff.
that.
Um, okay, so you've said uh, that growth exists on the other side of fear.
Correct.
So, is there any particular fear that you have now
Mhm.
that you're facing?
Um, I mean, no different than many other people. I mean, fear of failure. I trying to become financially independent, trying to pursue business ideals, acting. Also, there's always that, that imposter syndrome. Like, am I right for this? Is this really something that I'm actually capable of doing? Especially just like before performing on a stage or performing on camera. Yeah, you always question yourself, like, couldn't you have gotten somebody better kind of thing? But it's just that it's that ego in your head, like you got to be able to get rid of that. So I'm, yeah, constantly, yeah, it's always something I'm trying to work on. So always something I'm trying to be able to,
Okay.
ignore and be able to overcome. Yeah,
Okay.
fear of failure for sure.
Okay. Um, is courage something that you're born with or something that you build?
Ooh, definitely, I would consider building. I would like to think that you build it. I mean, hmm, you know, like repeated action. Thinking like a basketball player here, like repeated action is always going to ingrain it into your body more, ingrain it into your head more. And if there's a moment in which you need to repeatedly be able to find courage in a scenario, you're going to be able to find that and be able to drive that out of you naturally at some point. Um, yeah, because there's scenarios in which people cave under pressure, be able or fail to be able to perform in a way in a specific act because of their fear. But the individual who has consistently being able to overcome that, been consistently be able to face that and choose to face it is definitely going to be the person who's going to be more prepared for it again. Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. Um, you said in my readings of you that you wanted to become a worldly man. What does that mean? It obviously means something beyond just travel.
Yeah, great question. Actually, how I think of it is like a person who experiences everything, not only travel but perspectives, understandings, languages, beliefs. Like, for instance, I was I'm a spiritual individual, and I started to get to Christianity a little bit more to experience that. But I traveled to Japan just in the winter of November. Yeah, it was for my birthday in Japan, and obviously, like when you go to Japan and you're going to their temples, you're going to respect the religion the way they do, and you're going to pray the way they want because it's their lifestyle. You're in their home. I'm not kicking my feet up on somebody else's, on their table when I go to their house, right? I respect their place. And there were people that weren't a fan of the fact that I, prayed to another god or another existence, and that kind of, that kind of, I thought it was a little bit strange, um, because these are experiences and beliefs other people that are just like me would have. They just look different. They just speak different. They just sound different. And these are things that I would like to be able to experience, to be able to have more experience, to be able to view a different lifestyle, become more of myself in a sense. Being in a small in a small net area is only going to get you so far. You're going to meet everybody, you're going to hear everything, but you go somewhere else, you see something, you'll be able to think differently. Your brain literally rewires itself to be able to comprehend something in a new manner so that you can incorporate that into your life that could benefit yourself as well as the others around you. And that's kind of the things I want to do. And acting helps with that completely. I mean, basketball to acting, like that's, performance in one regard, but in a different manner entirely.
Yeah.
So it's new experiences, right? I want to do everything. I want to see everything. I want to surf more. I want to snowboard. I want to go skydive. Just really just experience life because we're meant to experience living, not just to get by, but to live, you know?
Um, so you're more than an actor, you're more, you're more than an actor. It's something bigger, your journey. And what amazes me is you're a young guy and you have such a handle and such a handle and a grasp on what you want to do. Uh, you, what do you think this for people listening to this, especially young people? And I've got a little bit of a following with a lot of young people who I've mentored and stuff at Rutgers. What would you like your impact to have? Listening to how grounded you are and how determined you are and resilience and all that. What would you, people who are watching you, what would you like them to take away from you?
That's a great question. I've always wanted to be able to perpetuate an idea of hope, of exploration, and to be able to really explore outside of your known means to really understand yourself as an individual. So if an individual, I mean, if someone were to watch this, I would tell them like, hey, dude, like that thing that you want to do that is something you're not doing right now because of judgment or belief or whatever hindrance, that is the thing you need to do. Do it because you want to do it because you want to explore yourself as a human being. Do it because it brings you more in yourself than just your day-to-day life kind of thing. Um, so yeah, I mean, if it was in a word, I'd say hope.
Okay, great, great. Listen, hope is what fuels me. Every day I hope I do this. I hope I get to that, and all these the hope and the gratitude and all that. So there's 50 more things to ask, but to be continued at a later date.
Absolutely.
I'm so fascinated with your journey, and what amazes me is sometimes I'm listening to you and part of me says he's 50 years old. What are you kidding me, Calvin?
Yeah.
You're 50 years old. You don't have any gray hair yet, but you're 50 years old, which means I'm paying you a high compliment.
Thank you. I
No,
appreciate
you're so grounded and mature and you have all these wonderful ingredients for success.
it. Thank you.
And like I pinch myself. He's got to be 50. He can't be in his 20s. It's a brave new. And now I say to myself, I talk to a lot. I mentor students and I interact with students, and maybe I just get lucky. The students they give me the mentor, and it just like blows me away because they're so grounded. They're in their 20s, teens sometimes,
Mhm.
like yourself. They're so grounded and have such a grasp. Um, and a part of it is the world that we live in. There's a lot of bad things about our world, but the good things is you're getting input basically 24/7. And somebody should talk about this someday. You're getting input 24/7. My world when I grew up, it's almost comical. They used to deliver coal to my house into the basement to put into a coal burner to heat the house.
Mhm.
It's like I'm Davy Crockett, going across country on a horse,
Mhm.
or in a Conestoga wagon. It wasn't. I mean, I was alive, and it wasn't that long ago. But we had back then. We had one, two, three, four, five, six. We had seven TV channels that went on the air at 8 and went off the air at midnight, and of course all black and white, and that was it. And we had an encyclopedia that was like 12 or 14 volumes, the World Book Encyclopedia, and in these seven books was my whole world.
Yeah.
That was the input, and it's beyond. So part of who you are in your generation is you're getting input basically 24/7 beyond comprehension, and it helps. So anyway, last question for now. If somebody is listening to you right now and is feeling stuck or uncertain or afraid to take that leap, what would you say to them?
Oh, they're stuck and starting to take the leap. Um, just do it anyway. It's kind of like what like the Nike slogan, just do it. But yeah, if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling scared to make a step, just take that first step, right? If well, I forgot what the analogy was, but it was if you're like in a massive fogged out area and you have no idea what direction you're trying to go, where you're looking to go, but you want to have a specific goal and you want to get somewhere. You can't see the path you're taking, but knowing fully well standing still is not getting you there. You just need to take the first step. If you can see directly in front of you, just take that step, make that march, right? Because the brain, it like, I can't, I'm not a psychologist, but I watched a video or two. That doesn't mean anything, but if you think about all the overwhelming things that you have to do, you're gonna overwhelm yourself. You're gonna start to freak out. You're gonna halt your progress. But taking the first step, making it just what do I do to start, is going to just begin the flow of the progress you need. So if you're afraid to start, do it anyway. If you're stuck and you don't know where to start, try and start somewhere. Just begin, is what I would say.
Perfect. You know, the analogy to that, and I use this all the time, when a couple of weeks ago, the Artemis spaceship, went to the moon.
Yep.
To lift that spaceship 5 feet requires the most amount of energy. Just to lift it up and off the launching pad takes the most amount of energy to lift that thing up. And then as it starts to gain momentum, it's less and less energy as it starts to go. And that's just what you said, Quinn. That's exactly what you said. Take that first step. That first step is the hardest, and it
Oh yeah.
requires the most amount of energy. So there's a million things more, and to be continued.
Absolutely.
Because I'd love you to come back and we can talk about all kinds of stuff. And I'm going to pursue Jurassic Park with you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to interview John one of these days, and we're going to
Oh,
talk about that.
I'm
Uh,
so excited to see
yeah,
that.
and I am going to go on a fossil dig with him. Uh, uh, it's just yeah, because he's been asking me for years to do this, and and I had some knee problems and I couldn't do it, but now I'm feeling pretty good, so we're
Get
going
in
to
there.
fossil dig. But I'm going to tell him about this, and you can go back and look, and you'll find his interview up there. And actually, in my third or fourth newsletter, I featured John.
Okay.
LinkedIn newsletter. I featured him, and I think I might have even written, or maybe Jurassic Park someday, just like you said.
Yeah.
So, this was great. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm just so grateful. The universe makes connections.
Yes, thank you.
And this will be continued. I'd love you to come back and I
Absolutely.
only wish you good things. Especially that when I see you in the movie and I say I interviewed him.
That's awesome, man. I'll be back for sure.
I interviewed him, and I'm a groupie, and I'll promote and re-promote and re-promote because I love that stuff. So,
Oh,
wishing you only good things. Thank you so much, Quinn. This was
thank
great,
you.
truly.
I
Don't leave.
appreciate
I'm
you.
just going to stop recording, and we'll do a little rap. I love that theatrical term, a rap.
Love it.